Hats off to the applause for the show. I guess the best way to start this is to say good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to beautiful Banquet Field, home of the BAC West Division champion Red Raiders, the state playoff Red Raiders. Here's the one I like, the champions of Madison County. You guys that played for London this year don't have any idea what that meant to some old timers. When it comes to old timers, I qualify. But tonight we're here to honor 3 football teams, 3 real good football teams. And the guys that can best do that for us are the guys that lived and died with these guys all year, from way back last year, July, August, until actually today. If you know a timer around this town, you really have to appreciate what these guys did. Believe it or not, I was born a year after the first undefeated team. I was a member of the second undefeated team, watched real closely with radio and newspaper the 66 team, the 75 team. This year, we weren't undefeated, but the accomplishments were really practically, if not, as great as those undefeated teams. It's an honor for me to be the PA announcer with my crew, with 2 of the last 3 years championship teams. Before I turn this over to Coach Gibson, Coach Collier, Coach Dobbinmeyer, if you were with me yesterday at the middle school, you really know why we are successful. I had the privilege of spending a lot of time yesterday with some real quality young men who were members of this football team. The quality always shows. These guys, we loved the little boys and girls yesterday. We loved all winter. There's other people I know that like to do this, but due to circumstances beyond their control, they won't be with us. But these guys are class at Banquet Field, the class at Xenia, the class in middle school, and I'm sure as Coach Dobbinmeyer, Coach Emmett, the people would say, class always shows. So people should know what we have here. You read their front pages, you won't see these guys on the front pages. You see them back to back for hats off to Madison County football or basketball or whatever. That's what we have here in town. I've been here a long time. I've seen most of these guys grow up. I believe that Coach Dobbinmeyer has us on the right track. Matter of fact, I know he does. And that's good for the whole community. It's not just good for the school, it's not just good on Friday nights, it's good for the whole school. And a lot of us left Xenia, maybe our hearts were broken, maybe we weren't just as happy as we could be. But when you got in the car and you headed back Route 42, the football team left everything they had. They didn't get anything in London, they gave all they had. That's all we can ask for. So, you've heard enough from me. Now, for what we're here for. First guy I'm going to introduce is a longtime friend. His last, for now, board presentation. A guy that I know firsthand is dedicated, even though he's working in Columbus with me last week. His dedication, his heart will be red and white. So, without any further ado, Ron Gibson.
Before we get into the side of it, I want to say one thing to this year's
had a lot of great team effort this year. Won the second BAC title again, Western Division, undefeated again. And we had a bunch of young men who, when we started, had a lot of carryover from the 8th grade year. And there's nothing wrong with that, because they had a very fine 8th grade year. But then we get into a scrimmage early against Miami Trace, and there's something like, oh, no, boy, they get us just as hard as we get them. So from that, we go down to Circleville, good old round town, play with 2 officials, take some lumps. But we grew up each and every game. We became better each and every game, even though we didn't win every game. But when you go back and you view the Miami Trace scrimmage tape to the last game against Greenfield McLean, it is just unbelievable how we grew as individuals. And by growing as individuals, we grew as a team. And that's something that we have always coached, is team. And whomever takes our place next year, I hope they continue the tradition that we've set here. And basically, we took that over from Coach Cunningham. We set a defensive record as a team. Sorry, sophomores. Which last year, sophomores had set. And I'll only talk about team thing. The individual stats are here, but we're just going to talk about the team thing. Set a team-breaking record by allowing 6.88 points per game, total 62 for the season. We set a yardage allowed per game with 86.9 yards, and we set a new defensive record for least yards in a game with -6 yards against Grandview. And it's just a great team effort. It seems that if we played every game at home, we'd won. We lost 3 games this year, and we lost them all on the road. So Coach Dalton was talking about last year's reserve baseball team. We won every game at home. Won 12 games at home and lost 5 on the road. I don't know, Coach. Maybe we can get everything scheduled next year at home. Yeah. Coach Thomas can't be here. He has to run to prison tonight because Mr. Wheeler's here. Okay, so, somebody's got to make us safe, right, T-Man? But Coach McKinney has been part of our staff for the last 5 years. Coach Thomas for the last 4 years. And even though you don't see much of Coach Thomas during the week or anything like that, he's with us on Thursday night, and coaches the defensive backs and just does a super job. I know he's with Coach Dodd on Friday night while we're out scouting. But John has volunteered for the past 4 years, and I tell you, to get someone, okay, because I just bought him a new pair of shoes yesterday, so. But he's got to go to work tonight, and this guy's something else. Our, what? Like Mr. Dwyer said this year, your reputation precedes, right? But Scott's done an excellent job. Defensive line coach, offensive line coach, and he sort of stepped up 5 years ago and said, hey, I'd like to help. And I said, hey, okay, you know. And they've done a super job with the kids. I know Coach Nance said that the check's in the mail, but I thought I'd wrap it so you did get some money. Okay? Now I'd like to have the freshmen come up, please. All the freshmen. We started out with 24 this year. I guess 23 out of 24 is a great retention rate. And I guess another thing that's amazing about this ball club is we had a lot of first-year players. I'm going to pick some guys out here. Okay. Adam Benson came to us from a parochial school. Mr. Dallin? Mr. Dallin? Oh, here he is. The good looking one. Okay. Mr. Dallin came in. He was brand new. Is Eric here? No. Eric Lyman's not here. He was a brand new player. And we had 3 or 4 other brand new players that came in. And they had to learn what a Red Raider was. And I guess I'll use Eric Lyman. He's not here, but Eric came from Columbus. And other than dodging drug dealers and bullets and things like that, he had to make a big adjustment. In fact, it was so big for him that at one time he quit the team. Absolutely quit the team. And in 8 years, I never had anybody do that. Boy, what'd I do wrong? But a couple days later, he called back. The coach, I want to play football. I said, well, okay, come on back. So we sat down, sort of had a heart to heart, and it is amazing how much he changed after he came back and worked with these young men here to develop into the football player that he was at the end of the season. And I'm picking every guy I could talk about, each and every one of these guys. So they did a terrific job. And it's hard. It's hard for a person to come in and to realize that now I'm being instructed on what the varsity is going to do. And by that I mean we had 2 days. And I mean we're out there huffing and puffing and kicking and gouging and spitting and cussing and everything like that. But these guys definitely know what it's going to be like their sophomore year. And I hope, you know, I'm retiring, but I hope this is kept because I think it's very important. This group is going to be the same way. Now, we got to the playoffs this year. Next year, we'll go farther. We're going to go farther. And it's because of these guys starting 7th, 8th grade freshman year and really getting to know the basics of football at every position. Okay? Quarterback, fullback, and tailback. Our linemen did a simply beautiful job this year. Shad Good, I'm proud of. And how your awards are in order, alphabetically or not, so be patient. We again have someone from the community, since we don't have a quote-unquote official Western Division Championship trophy for the high school, has been kind enough to donate funds, and we're going to present these young men with a BAC Creighton Western Division Champs 1992-1993. Great. Where you turn it would be 99, but actually there's 96, so Coach Nance gave me a 6 or double 9, whichever way you call it. Every one of them gets a freshman billboard.
At the end of the season, why certain freshmen got to go with us to the state playoffs and others didn't. We were limited by the number of uniforms that we had. We only put 50 kids in the uniform. And I know that my feeling amongst freshmen, we didn't really want to be there. We've already taken steps to remedy that, so that does not happen next year. When we go to the playoffs next year, we're taking all of our freshmen in with us. We're going to all have the same uniforms. So I wanted to make sure that each one of these guys got one of our state playoff shirts. I'm sure you guys all saw those. I didn't want them to think that we didn't appreciate everything they did.
Before we sat down, I'd like to honor someone who has been with us the past 6 years and does a heck of a job. We've always tried to have our program a notch higher than any other program, even at the 8th grade level, by having a spotter and announcer. And Mike Kelly, who is up in Cleveland right now and probably freezing himself to pieces watching Cleveland and the Bengals play, he has also been with us 6 years, and I recently went over to his house since I knew he was going to be at Cleveland and presented him with something for his dedication to the football program for the past 6 years. Mike does a fine job announcing ball games, even though we've been called the Madison Eagles and things like that. But he just did a super job, and I guess one of the biggest things when we played his alma mater, Washington Courthouse, this year, and he came to us after our victory, which was the only game that they lost this year. He really congratulated the coaching staff and his boys, and he said, "God, I loved it." So I looked at him, I said, "Well, what are you saying? You're not a Blue Lion anymore?" And he said, "Nah." He said, "I'm a Raider." And that really made me feel good. I know it did the rest of the staff. So enough about Mike, and now for the other Mike. The guy that always makes the announcer better, right, Mr. Wheeler, is your spotter. And if Mike McCann would please come down here. Thanks, bud. Thank you, folks. Out! Cheryl, two right, please. Very nice. Very nice.
Don't know who Coach Thomas is. He's the one that wore shorts the night of playoff game. He told me on Monday he didn't get cold, so, you know, maybe we buy a pair of long pants next year. And Mike McCann, for you who don't know, that aren't have been around a long time, Mike was a starting tackle at 5'4", 180 pounds on London's 1966 undefeated football team. So he's not just a spotter, he's also a pretty good football player back in his day. Next guy, on Saturday mornings, if you guys and gals took the time to go down to Von Cannell Field or follow the junior varsity team on Saturday mornings, he's the one that can say, we were 9-0. A real good junior varsity football team. They could hit on Saturday morning just about like that varsity field on Friday night. So, without any more from me, Coach Mark Collier.
Everyone, for starters, I'm not really a JV coach. I am, but Coach Fire, stand up. We're really Coach JV coaches. So good. Take the offense, he takes the defense, and we show up one morning and we say, who's snapping for punch? And they go, well, I don't know, he did it last week, he's not here this week, so we just say, okay, we won't have any special teams, we're not punting, so that's how we take care of that. And after a while, we start thinking about the same. It'll be 4th and 6, we're on our own 30-yard line. I'll look at him, he'll look at me, say, I'm 2. Most of the time we got it. So, punch block anyway. JV football, that's the best way to make everyone understand it. If you played on our JV football team the very first game of the season, when we went to Logan Elm for that shutout, stand up. Okay, now, if you played on our JV football team the very last game of the season, stand up. Wasn't a whole lot different. There's a change of about maybe 6 or 7 kids. Everyone go ahead and have a seat. That's what we're dealing with. We got together for the very first game of the season. You might be able to remember, we got you underneath the goalpost. So it's going to be tough for a while, because I don't really have a feel for you guys yet. And it's real hard to get a feel for a JV team, because every week they're looking at different people. We go in there the first week, and we have Adrian Terry playing, and we say, gee, man, you got this kid out here 6 foot whatever, with arms maybe 7 inches long. Let's just throw it up to him and score touchdowns. The boys pretty easy, he's been 46-0 or whatever. And you come back the next week, and he's not playing anymore. He's a varsity football player now. Then you try to figure out some other way to get the job done. And it's not a complaint. It's the same everywhere you go. Every single team in our league, every team we play, it's the same thing. You show up on Saturday morning, and you look out there, and the other team's trying to teach the kids what kind of plays they run. They might be moving up freshmen or moving down juniors and moving people around. So it's no different here than it is anywhere else. And the key to the season is who is going to be the most selfless and maybe give up their spot for someone else, or maybe play a position they're not used to playing. Maybe had to play somewhere that they know they're not going to play in varsity football. Eric Western last year played fullback for us all year long simply because we didn't have one. We knew he wouldn't be a fullback in a varsity football team this year. We knew that. But he got some playing time. He did that for us, made it tougher. Look what he accomplished this year. So on the JV football team this year, it was a lot the same way. Guys just giving of themselves, switching around, making sure we could get the job done. And since we were so selfless, that allowed us to go 9-0. Followed us throughout the course of the season, and then after a while, it seemed like every week we played 2 days undefeated, I guess. We were 2-0, 3-0. We went to Old Tangy, and they were undefeated. We went up there, lost our tailback that we had the first 2 or 3 games of the season. Lost our fullback, lost one of our inside linebackers, lost one of our defensive backs. We're going up there and they're undefeated, so we're pretty concerned about what's going on. We have 2 guys that have never been in the backfield before. So we have Andy Rodeball playing back there, who's very capable. He hasn't done it yet all year though. We have Don Raines playing back there, who's very capable. They hadn't done it all year though. So we threw the ball out on the 30 times, threw for 5 touchdowns. We got the job done. We go out there once towards the end of the game. We know we need 1 more score to win it. I looked at John Wilson and said, hey, how those guys guard you? They playing inside you? They playing outside you? He goes, Coach, you guard me about that call. They are. Why don't you throw it up in the end zone to Wilson? I throw it up in the end zone to Wilson. He catches it. He said that kid kind of looked up at him and said, I have to do that. That's where John at. What that kid say that to you? What do you think to you? That to you? It helps with you when you're about 6'2", huh? So, I mean, that's how we got it done. We get to the point where we are 6-0. We go to Madison Place, who happen to be 6-0. Now they tried to make a real big deal out of that game. Because first of all, they knew they were going to lose on Friday night, so they had to try to make some kind of climax out of it. They wanted the JV game to be a really big game for Saturday morning. And they moved some people down, and they loaded up, and we took the best team over there that we could possibly take. We had 1 touchdown called back. Jason, who was real solid for us all year, that's probably your worst game of the year, wasn't it? Kind of playing as far as no interceptions and stuff, but still, we got the job done, put together, got a big victory there. We go the next week, we play Grand. We show up at Grand, guess what? They're 8-0. They're undefeated also. It's like every week, you know, we run into another obstacle. They get the ball, take it down to about the 20, finally we end up, somehow we hold it. We have the ball, they maul us, get it and score. We have the ball again, drive down the field, they stop us, they drive in, we finally get a turnover. Throw one of those 5-yard slant passes and turn into a 60-yard touchdown. And at the half, I think we're up 1 point. That is the extra point something, 8-7 or 8-6. And so we're coming out in a real close football game. Beginning of the second half, they kicked the ball to us. You understand, 2 years ago when we didn't make the playoffs, Graham was the team that beat us by half a point, 2 point, whatever the heck it was. So before that game, we had to let them know in the future, if it's ever going to come down between us and them, it's going to be us. We came out there in the second half. Mike Harris was a freshman who moved up on the JV team, catches the kickoff, starts taking it back. You hear this blood-curdling scream from someone on our sideline. Next thing you know, that kid's laying down on the ground with these teeth marks up and down his body. And you kind of look at his face. You know, it was right on our sideline. I kind of looked at that kid's face, and it was kind of stunned, and it was kind of. Then he finally opened up his eyes, and they were spinning in different directions. And at that time, I knew we had a beat. And then we took it to him. We took it to him. We scored. I believe every time we had the ball for the rest of that half, except for our very last possession. There was a time this year we went over to play West Jeff. Again, we were getting ready for a football game. They're either gonna have a freshman team or they're gonna have a reserve team. They can't have both. We decided we're gonna play a JV game, so all the freshmen moved up, they came with us. Again, that's a situation where the freshmen had to give it to themselves because they weren't able to play the whole game. So the JVs had to give it to themselves because they weren't able to play the whole game. Let some of the freshmen get a chance to play. But again, everyone was willing to do that. It was unbelievable. I think some of the people in London never went to sleep that night. I showed up the next morning at West Jeff, and there's no scoreboard or anything. It's a big thing because I don't think they had 3 digits on it. And, we have a coach's box that goes from the 30-yard line to the 30-yard line, you know. Well, it didn't matter because I looked out by the end zone. I mean, we had fans on the field, I think, the entire game, so I could walk around wherever I wanted, but they couldn't even tell who the coach was. I mean, there was 100 people on the sideline for a JV game, so that was really something. And to end it all off, and we're 8-0. We're going into our last game of the season. It was very important for these guys to finish it off. The year before, they were undefeated going to the last game of the season and had a real tough football game. It just came out a little bit short. And this year we're playing a team we knew we should beat, but we wanted to make sure we came through and we got the job done. Jonathan Aller came in. Early in the game we scored. Next thing you know, Jason Artis had hurt. His ankle looked like one of those Picasso pictures or something. I mean, it was twisted and mangled. It was something really ugly. So we have to put in a freshman quarterback into a JV football game. And it's like we didn't even miss a beat. Up and down the field, score a touchdown. He breaks his ankle. Next thing you know, we put in a kid who hadn't taken a snap the entire year. On about the 3rd play from the scrimmage, he throws a touchdown pass. And from that point on, the defense took over and we just mauled them. So that was the spirit of the team that we had this year. Now we don't keep stats, you know, and Coach E can tell you what he thinks of the stats. It's important on the varsity level to keep stats. Those types of things are important. Carl King's first team All-State because he had great stats. Jay Hoy, we take in defense, we have these tackles, we have these kinds of stats. They give you a feel for how your team plays. As far as JV football, Mike might come to me one day and say, how many yards did I have? I said, I don't know, must have been enough because we won. I called Bill Fox and asked the question against the Jonathan Aller game. The score was 58-6. He said, who scored for you? I said, oh, gee. He said, Artis must have scored a couple times. Let's see, I think Wilson must have scored a couple times. It didn't even matter. We didn't care. Kids didn't care. Let's just get the job done. That's all that mattered to us. Bum Phillips probably said it best a few years ago, back when he coached Houston Oilers, back in the Astrodome. A couple years ago, those guys knocked on the door. This year, the seniors cracked that door open a little bit. The kids that played on Saturday mornings this year are going to kick that sucker in. They're going to win state championship.
Coach Collier, not only a real, obviously good football coach, good coach, but sometimes I think you make a living on Channel 25. You do a good job. You do a good job. You guys have played JV ball all year. You were interested to watch, and I know that you'll keep some doors in. I guess we're here to now hear from the guy who runs the show. You know, it doesn't make any difference. You're in a small town, small community. We don't have a whole lot to think about. You go shopping at Upper Valley Mall, or you go shopping in Westland or Northland, go to Columbus to the theater, go down and watch the Bengals, go up and watch the Browns. But right here in town, there's not a whole lot. When it's real bad, and it has been real bad, years past, you know, you just sometimes don't want to go anywhere to drink coffee or whatever. When it's real good, that's what you hear. You're not always going to hear that everything's great. Not everybody's going to agree. Not everybody's going to think it's the most wonderful thing in the world. But finally, after all these years, I get up on Monday morning and can't wait to get to the football field on Friday night. You know, I had a little tough summer, and we talk about people and their success. And I guess success is in the eyes of the beholder. But the guy that I'm getting ready to bring up here, it's his show. I talked to a lot of people, and you know, you don't have to, like I say, agree with everything. But there's some things you can say about a person that makes you really realize. I know firsthand, because this summer, this guy and his wife were right there with me all the time. On July 22nd, for you that know where Burr Park is, we walked arm in arm to Burr Park. That was the day the doctor said, go about your life summer. All summer, it was, you'll be okay. 7 weeks to opening night. 4 weeks to opening night. All of a sudden, July 22nd comes, I get some good news. It's important to me. People will be there on Friday nights. Very important. We all have egos. It's part of mine. Whether I do a good job or a bad job, that's beside the point. I enjoy it. Because I might have to leave before this filming is done. I have some people to really thank. Mike Kelly, Mike McCann, my spotters, Friday night. Bob Dunkel does all the prep work for me. Saturday morning, Ty LeGlatter, Mike Kelly. They are important. They are important. What I got to do tonight to leave here, maybe a little early, is take care of getting 118 boys and girls ready to play basketball next Saturday. And these little boys and girls, with the help of a lot of these people in the crowd, are the people that's going to be down there on Friday nights at Von Cannell, out here in the gymnasium in a few years, making us all happy again. I guess there's just a few words left to say about this guy. He brought something back to London we didn't have for a long time. I was talking to Dave yesterday. It's nice to be able to talk to a young man 18 years of age who is 18, maybe going on 35 in his maturity. We had a long talk, and I said, you know, talking about Coach Bob Meyer, I said, you know, he's a little bit of a politician. He has to be able to put everything together that he does from the grade level on up. Obviously, he's a great motivator. Most important, he's a good guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Bob Meyer.
Guess everyone needs to stand up and stretch a little bit, huh? Thank you for those kind words. Man, what a year. And I'm not going to look at my watch because I'm telling you I don't care. And if anybody wants to get up and leave, you go ahead and leave. But we're going to honor these guys away. But the honor. We've been playing football ever since, what, 1904? Well, 1906 was our first championship. Since 1904, I believe. So it's because these guys accomplished something that's never been done. Now, I know Mike Wilson's going to stand up and say, yeah, but they didn't let as many teams in the playoffs a few years ago. And he's right. But Mike, it doesn't matter, man. This is the first group to be able to do that. And we're going to take time. You got to be a part of it anyway, so don't worry about it. We're going to take time and honor these guys the right way. You know, son, you said something that's so true. Head coach gets all the credit, get all the blame, and I know that you guys sit down and suck on that coffee. There's a few mornings my ears are burning pretty hard. I understand that, but I'm smart enough. I think that the true thing of leadership is to be able to surround yourself with competent people. And I just can't tell you, man, the people that I've surrounded myself with. I've been a football coach 18 years, been head coach for 12. And I can't tell you, top to bottom, the quality of the guys we have coaching for. I grew up I went to Lakewood High School. And I remember leaving after, I remember going home after a football game. We went to the football team. I remember going home after the game. We would drive by the local bar, and sitting out front of the local bar were our football coaches' cars. We'd all honk and wait and laugh as go by because they're in there drinking beer celebrating the football game. And the thing I'm most proud about our coaching staff, top to bottom, is the quality of the life each one of you guys tries to live. They don't take the responsibility of being a teacher and a coach lightly. And I don't think the people of London understand how blessed you really are. The guys on our football staff are the type of people that they are. Just a sidelight. 2 weeks ago, just an example. 2 weeks ago, we got to go over to the Agonis Club banquet over in Columbus, where I received an award for winning the BAC championship. They have a 50-50 drawing at the beginning, sell all these tickets, this place is packed. On the way in, I buy a ticket, Coach Emmett's going in, I took him with me, so we're going in, he buys a ticket right behind me. He said, man, this is my lucky day. We sit down, we're eating our meals, at 50-50 drawing, they call out the number, and they call out Norm Emmett's number. And 250, I don't know, 250 bucks, I believe what it was. And he walks up there before I could grab a hold of him and gives it back. Because I've been a football coach in Ohio for 20 years, and it's just something I feel like I can pay back. And he gave that money back. I wanted to grab him and shake him. We laughed about it. My car's got my windshield's busted, my muffler shot. We could have used that money. But I'll tell you why it shows the character of him, is because he didn't have time to prepare to do that. He won the money, and he did it. He didn't think about it. He didn't go all the way over there and think, am I going to keep this money when we get back? No, he won it, and he gave it. And the thing that is so awesome to me about that is I heard Coach Kyer get up here, and Coach Gibson get up here, and they talked about sacrifice and giving. Man, all you got to do is look at the guys who are working with your kids. An example that they set. And where we do now, I want to take just a minute and recognize those. I don't know if they're all here tonight, but I do want to recognize all of them because they won't all get an opportunity to speak. Head coach at our junior high is Richard Cunningham. I know Richard's here with his wife, Dan. Had to laugh. We went down to the state playoff game. Coach walks over to me. First thing, every coach wants to know that they walk over to me and says, how many coaches do you have? So we call it an entourage, you know. Some of these guys are volunteers, and I said, hey, buddy, you just got to understand our town. Everybody wants to be part of it. And I said, I don't know how many we got, but we're looking for more. Well, see, we had 4, they beat us, so I guess it doesn't say too much. Here also tonight, I don't believe Coach Conley's here. Is there Coach Woodford? Who else worked at the junior high? John Lick right here. Johnny. Not only is John an assistant coach down at the junior high, he's one of our stat guys. He put together, every football player is going to get a little stat book. And man, it's the most amazing little thing. And John did all that on his spare time. And he did a lot of it for you. John Lick right here. Our freshman coaches, of course, Coach Gibson's already been up here. I was sharing with Sonny as he's sitting over there. Outside of Coach Emmett's, I don't believe I've ever been around anybody who understood duty better than Ron Gibson. Didn't matter if it's Thursday night, what if I call and say, Ron, I need you to go to eat tonight. Doesn't matter, right there. Ron Gibson said, yes, sir, and he went to East Knox. And 3 or 4 years ago, when we had that big staff turnover, a lot of hard decisions needed to be made. I knew that Ron Gibson, he's the one that I know along with Coach Emmett really started this whole thing off. And I've never met a guy more loyal, hard-working, and had more red ribbons when I've run through him than Ron. Your wife here tonight, Ron? I know she's on the stick, and hopefully we keep her in our thoughts and prayers. Ron Gibson, he's retired. Scott McKinney helped him at the freshman level. A lot of you guys, I sit back sometimes, I just sit back and admire and watch, you know. Because I think I got a real beat on this guy. Kids think he's crazy. They love him, but I understand the depth of his character, and I understand the depth of what it is he's trying to do. And he understands the spiritual side of the kids a lot of people don't always understand. There's been a number of times that Scott stepped up to me and he said something to me about what he thought was wrong in somebody's mind, and I was telling you he was right on all the time. And he gave a lot in his 6 years here, and he's going to retire as well. And in fact, have a couple volunteers. I have my brother-in-law. Drives all the way over from Buckeye Lake twice a week. Holds my court on Friday nights. He says he fishes me out there, pulls me back here once in a while. So I have him there because it's great to know that you have somebody supposed to stand behind you to support you, no matter what it is, and no matter what kind of darts and arrows the fans are throwing. I know that he'll jump me out. He won't let me shoot me from behind or anything like that. So I appreciate his loyalty, and I know that he's enjoyed being part of the program. That's Carl Gardner and my sister, Jane, his wife. Of course, my mom's over there too. Hey, my mom loves me, you know. She's like, she follows me where Mom, you stand up over there. My dad loves me too. He just doesn't follow, you know. A real pleasant addition to our staff this year was George Ford, and I know that a lot of you have probably during the course of your winter who that guy was, to find out through the grapevine. George basically has a heart for the Lord. He's a minister. And he and I locked up this summer, and I knew that he had an athletic background. And parents, I'm telling you, you don't know what this guy's at. You just don't know. I know the players know. I know the coaches know. Because what a difference that he is able to make in the lives of these young kids. He moved out of Columbus, he and his family have made a commitment to be a part of our community. And we're going to make great use of him. He's a tremendous guy to have around. Got a great testimony that y'all hear sometimes. George Barber. Don't want to forget a guy that really was here since the beginning. I call it the dark days of 1989. They were battled. Coach Mo, Doug Mosier, he hung in there, man. We've been through it, Mo. We've been through it. I've always appreciated your loyalty. We call him Mother Mo because that's where guys want to run around and get hurt. And they go to him, and he babies them and heals them up and gets them back on his way. So I've seen a different side of you, Coach, since you had your own kid. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. I appreciate all you. Doug Mosier, single one first. Mark Byers. Mark boy, I'm telling you, God must have put this staff together because everybody just fits in perfectly. This guy's never in a bad mood. He smiles when he's in a bad mood. He comes in a bad mood and says, man, I just can't believe he's in a bad mood. And his positive attitude spills over into the classroom and spills over to those around him. And he's another one of those guys that will do anything and everything to try to make the situation around him better. He's a great coach. He's our head track coach. He's a great teacher. I hope he never leaves, but sometimes he's going to move on to bigger and better things, I know. And he doesn't have a wife. Mark Byers. I just realized that I forgot our main man, Doug Huff back there. Doug, I got to forget Doug because he wasn't going to be a coach, and he wasn't coaching, and he wasn't going to be a coach, and he ended up being a coach, of course. But more than anything, you know what Doug was? Doug was a big brother. And Doug helped through some of those times when Greg was having those knee problems, whatever he went through, where Doug was there to be able to encourage Greg and get Greg to do some things maybe we couldn't do. And he'll run to Washington Courthouse and go wherever we need him to go to do whatever needs to be done because he's a Red Raider through and through. We appreciate his help. Doug Huff. Coaches, I know, a lot of coaches. Mike Wilson, the world's greatest non-teaching coach. Guys, a lot of times guys, oh, Ron, now hang on, don't get mad at me. Well, one of the world's greatest, how about that? We have the two greatest non-teaching coaches in our school system. What I like about Mike has a way of saying what you want to say, only you don't have the guts to say it, you know. Sometimes he says stuff I think, man, I wish I had said that. But he's good because he can get those kids, get them all fired up, and then we can go by and stab them over a little bit. But he has brought a spirit back to London that was part of that 1975 team, where that stuff came from. And boy, it made a big, big difference. And we're tickled to have him. Mike, close to your wife, Jamie, here, Mike. Mark Collier, you already saw what kind of fire he has. I'm so proud because Coach Emmett said at one of our last meetings, Mark Collier is becoming more and more like me every day. And I don't say that because I think I'm such a great guy, but it's just so great. I think if you do what you're supposed to do, you reproduce yourself. And I see him up there and the things that he's saying and how excitable he is. And he's our girls basketball coach, just full of fire and inspiration. And is also very proud tonight to know that his wife, yesterday, got her degree from Wright State. Man, won't forget somebody. Norm Emmett. Have I forgotten anybody else? Any other coaches in here? Yeah, is Coach Pat Lyman in here? Another guy volunteered for us. His man, somebody here. We got all kinds of guys that offer a lot. Norm Emmett, you guys know. Norm, when you were head coach, when were you head coach here? He hates to talk about it, but I always like to. 84 and 85, 2 years. And I know, I'm telling you this, Norm Emmett would have turned this program around. I know that beyond any shadow of doubt he would have. Situation wasn't right, and he got out of 3 or 4 years. And after my first year, that terrible experience that first year, Norm came to me and said, "I'm ready to get back in it." And you cannot understand what it's like to have a right-hand man like that, the experience that he has, but the willingness to give and be subservient and do whatever it is to try to make our program better. And well, everything that goes on in my life and every success we have on the football field, I share with Norm Emmett. I share with all these guys, but I know that Norm Emmett could easily be standing in his shoes. He doesn't live in town. He's here more than most people. He lives in Hilliard, and I hate to think how many miles he's on his car. He loves London. He loves the place. Norm Emmett and his wife, Florida. Johnny Bucks, wave while you take off. John and Jake over here. Don't kill yourself, bud. And I can't forget my wife, who never been a wife of a football coach. Wives, guys who are wives, women who are wives of football coaches. My wife's had pneumonia for 2.5 weeks, and this is really her first night out. So I'm ready to applaud just for the fact that she finally got out of the house, because it's been a real long time. But I love her. I love all her doing it. All she does is support my wife. And Zach, and Abby, and Maggie, wherever they are, they're all here. Okay, enough of that stuff. Who did I forget? I forget Dr. Starr, who's not here. I thought he'd be here. You guys don't know, you guys don't know bad press. Well, you do know bad press that Dr. Starr got from last year. You would not believe how giving he did towards our football program. It didn't matter what time, he got somebody in, didn't he? It didn't matter what the treatment was, he did it. He said, I'll be there 9 o'clock in the morning. He gave above and beyond what was necessary for our football program. And the night after we beat West Jefferson, he just on his own made an unbelievable plaque for me that just really touched me. And I thank Dr. Starr for what he does. Ty Nicklider's here. Ty's kept all of our stats. How long have you been at that, Ty? Just 4 years. Been 4 pretty good guys. Ty eats a lot of pizza over my house on Friday nights after games. He watches a film. And I think that Ty's the one that goes on Saturday mornings straight and Sunny. I'll tell Sonny he doesn't know what he's talking about because Ty's already seen the film. So it's good. We have some of the chain gang here tonight. I see Larry and Weaver. Anybody else? Just 2 of you guys? You 2 guys, come on down. Weaver, I'm about tired of seeing you freeze. Come on down here, bud. What's up with Weaver and Larry Knapp are here in the London football sweatshirts, so they won't be so cool down there on Friday nights, Saturday mornings, whenever it is here. They get the right size. If these aren't the right sizes, bring them back and we'll make an exchange. Weaver, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Got one for Charlie. He turns on the lights and sets up the PA system and does whatever needs to be done. And he's been, how long have you been around, Charlie? 46 years. 46 years. We'll take care of it. Greg Ardrey. Greg broke him in this year as, are you here, Mr. Ardrey? Broke him in as film guy this year. And he kind of really helped us in the bind. He was reliable, was there every night. And I feel rather than giving you a sweatshirt, I think you deserve a championship shirt here. So if you come up and give you one of those for all you did. Mr. Artiagi, come on down real quick. Sorry, Mr. Artiagi, he helped us fix the film too. We'll send the shirt up to him. We don't have Roger steal it from you, all right? Thank you. We'll get on with it. We're going to present. I want to show everybody certainly what we did. We're going to hand the kids the award, but every coach and player that was on the varsity this year. The last football game, we were allowed to take 67 people. That included football players, spotters, everything. And they gave us $15 to eat on. Nice. We didn't eat. So I, again, with the Doc Star, I said, hey, Doc, listen, you know, I got $15 to get something for everybody, and what can you do for me? They took me over to this thing. We're going to present one to all the varsity reserve kids tonight. He showed it to me. He said, I'll give you this for $15. Again, this is Doc Star. On the back of it, I saw the price tag said $34.95. So he probably took a little bit of a dive on it. It's a little plaque. It's taken under the 39-7 West Jet football score, forever printed up there. It's got a copy of our schedule over here, coaches, players, and probably have to look real hard to find yourself in there because you're usually hidden behind everybody. But everybody will receive those tonight. And I want to make sure again publicly that Doc Star didn't have to do that. He just didn't have to do that. So if we can at this time have all sophomores and Brad Teal come forward. Coaches, if you come help me. Just kind of two lines that start both ways. We got letters in there, Coach. We got those things there. Coach, everybody gets a flag and get them all flagged out. It's going to take a while. As coaches are handing out, I'm going to say something about every one of these kids because a guy like Tommy Whitelow practiced for 3.5 months. I think he deserves something nice said about him for 2 minutes. So I'm going to think real hard here. First guy I want to talk about down in the end is Donnie Raines. Donnie wearing a Notre Dame hat. Donnie reminds me a lot of myself, and that my mom would probably attest, I was pretty small when I played. I've grown a lot, as you can see, but I about like Donnie. But Donnie's got a great heart. Coach Collier used him as a wide receiver. They used him as a running back. They used him in a lot of different situations, defensive back. And I know that because of the desire that Donnie has, that he's going to be a varsity player for someplace next year. Don't know where it's going to be secondary. Don't know where. But Donnie gave us a great year this year, and it's going to take us to that next level again next year. Donnie Raines down the end. Next guy is John Calborn. John, how old are you? We got some guys on our coaching staff that still can't grow a mustache. Or hair. He's 15 years old. He's had that mustache for I don't know how long. But John hasn't played football a whole lot. John, is this only your second year playing? Third year playing. And we moved him to linebacker this year. It was really a new position for him, and it took him a long time to really understand what he's supposed to do. But he dedicated himself a lot last winter in the weight room and got a lot better as the season went on. Weighs right now, what, 190, John? about 190 pounds as a sophomore. It's a great body, and we know by the time that John's out here, he's going to be a real solid football player for us. John Calvin. Lance Worthington. You know what, Lance? I remember we were having one of our fiery Thursday night meetings over at the night that Mr. Sims fed us over at the depot. And we got screaming and hollering and said, somebody in here is going to be the next Jay Hoy. And Lance jumped up. I don't know whether the emotion got to him or what, but buddy, he's got to do it. Lance played center, played some defensive tackle for us. In the last football game against Grandview, when Adam Noble got poked in the eye or whatever it was, he had to go out first time all year. Remember that, not being in there for a snap. And Lance had to go in there and snap the ball. And he got it up. And maybe he wasn't as nervous as I was, but I was pretty nervous. Not because he couldn't do it, but just a different quarterback in there. Lance is a hard worker and dedicated. We got to get him in the weight room. He likes to lift at home, which is great, but we would rather he lift with us. And I know he's going to fill out. He's got a nice body on him. And it's exciting to be the football coach as some of these kids are coming back. I'm telling you. Lance Worthington. Next guy's Andy Rodeball. Andy's the one that Coach Collier talked about. Went in and threw a touchdown pass the third play. He'd been in there when he hadn't played quarterback all year long. Hadn't played it all year long. And Andy's big claim to fame is we used to laugh because we would always put him in late in the game, varsity games. And as soon as he was in there first play, somebody tried to throw a touchdown pass over the top of him. And we got to thinking that maybe the scouts knew when 30 went in to try to throw it over his head because it was working every week. I don't say that's embarrassing because I know what kind of guy Andy is. When he gets more reps and gets a chance to play a little bit more, he's going to be a solid player. He plays fullback for us any place we ask him to play. He gives a great year. Andy Rodeball. Corey Bennett's the next guy. Corey's one of those sneaky guys. He started for our baseball team as a freshman last year, midway through the season. We brought him up. I watched one of the JVs play one game. He had 2 home runs that game, didn't he, Corey? I said, I think maybe Corey's ready to move up. And from a varsity football standpoint this year, our only thing about Corey is we wish he was a little bit stronger, but we know he'll get stronger. He plays a guard for us, plays an inside linebacker, got a great nose for the football, and also plays basketball. And he's just one of those guys that he can just do about anything. Keeps his mouth shut, never complains, never tells you how wrong you are, just plays football. He got his first year varsity award this year, and Corey, he'll be an awesome player. There you go. This sophomore class will win a state championship. I'm just telling you they're going to do it. I remember standing up here. I tell these seniors all the time. I stood up here 3 years ago and I told you seniors as freshmen, what are we going to do, huh? We're going to be champions before we're out here. I'm telling you, these guys are going to win a state championship. I know it. Scott Sims, we used to go down freshman games last year. I can tell this now. We used to go freshman games last year. Me and Coach Sims just watching. Because he went from sidelines to sidelines as an inside linebacker. And Coach says, I can't wait to get him up there because I know he's going to be a great player. Scott's now grown to about 6'1". About 6'1", he's going to be probably 195 pounds next year. Tied with Jay Hoy for the leading tackler on our team as a sophomore. Has a great nose, is fearless, has a great work ethic, and Scott's going to be a great football player. Scott's in. The train. I remember watching him last year. Big guy that he is. I knew what kind of athlete he was, and Coach Gibson used him at offensive tackle because that's where you needed to use him. And I said, man, that guy is a wide receiver. He's a wide receiver. And we get him out there in those games, we throw him the football, and it's hard to believe that he runs by people. He's so long and gangly, you know. But the next thing you know, they can't catch him. And Coach Carter would come back from the D game and said, how'd you score? And he's like, well, 3-1 to Wilson, and nobody can catch him, just over and over. So Coach Emmons came up with a play we call quick right at will, meaning we could throw it to John. Anytime we wanted to throw it to John, we'd score a touchdown on it. That's the way it is. John's a starter on the basketball team, great all-around athlete. Yeah, you're going to hear great things about John. Congratulations. Well, the sickest I was all year this was Saturday morning. Jake Nars broke his ankle. Because those of you who came to watch us play football, you know what kind of quarterback Johnny Johnson was. John was great. Jason was good, and he'd run that option, and for some reason, he'd get everybody stop. The next thing you know, he'd go. And he had just done one of those plays in that JV game for about 20 yards. Next thing I know, look out there, and his ankle was going in the direction that an ankle's not supposed to go. And we knew we had some trouble. But been, what, 5 weeks now, Art? 5 weeks, and he's about ready to start playing some basketball and find out that you do heal up. He's going to be the guy who's going to have to carry the mail force next year as quarterback. We've got to get him to throw the football a little bit this summer, get on the weights. But a quality athlete, a great guy, and a great leader. Big man. Tommy Whitelow last year quit. Now, I don't say that to make fun of him, but to let you know how far he's come. I remember a number of times during the season I turned and said, "Hey, Tommy, you weren't even here last year at this time." Every day to encourage him that you are getting better and better and better. And I remember last week, he said, "Hey, Coach, I'm going to be playing next year." And I believe it. 6'4", whatever he is. How far are you? 6'3". He'll be 6'4" next year. He's straightened out. He's a great athlete and really, really turned his life around. And got great things ahead of him. Brad Teal gets one of those guys gets to come up here twice. I don't know. I haven't been around here long. 4 years. Anybody know the last freshman earned a letter? Vance Wilson. What year would that be? Right now? You know, Alex? Been a while, huh? Been a while. Been a while. And, you know, we toyed around all year long. I know what kind of kicker this guy is. I know what kind of kicker he is. And I believe he's going to be the best kicker we've ever had in this place. Not alone being able to play fullback and linebacker and all that other kind of stuff. And during the course of the year, sometimes when Flo was struggling a little bit, yeah, the thought went through my mind to stick Brad Teal in there. But you got to understand the chemistry of the team. You just got to understand that. And I appreciate so much what Jeremy Fleury had done for our football team. I wasn't going to pull the rug out from under him. And Brad came in and he contributed, did what he's supposed to do, and I know what kind of effort he's going to give us in the summer to make himself a great player next year. And when we miss next year, when we miss field goals, and we'll play him at linebacker and wherever the heck else he plays, he goes to Brad team. Is this group awesome or what? This group is unbelievable. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Bo Williamson, old bony old Bo, man. I couldn't believe how tough this guy was. I watched him play last year, and Coach had him play some fullback there late in the season. I just was watching him walk in the halls. I didn't know if he was really kind of tough enough to be able to cut it, you know. Boy, he opened my eyes up further. And he's going to do nothing but get better. He's going to fill out and grow and get stronger and faster. He was on the mile relay team that went to the state last year, right, Bo? You guys want to go back there again this year? Quality kid, good students, all those things that you like to say about kids. You'll hear his name many times. Bo. Michael Justice is a move-in from Groveport, right, Mike? He came out for football. I don't really know if he really wanted to play football or not. And especially to step into a group like this, the sophomores like this, pretty difficult thing to be able to do. But I know the football team will welcome him with open arms, and every week Michael got tougher and tougher and tougher. There's no place to hide out on the football field, especially if he's playing outside linebacker. Sweep comes your way. If you jump out of the way, everybody sees it. And I know early in the season, Mike was probably thinking of jumping out of the way a little bit, but he wasn't at the end. In fact, what game was he had 2 sacks? Mike, what varsity? Johnstown. We're in Johnstown. He had two sacks over there. So he'll do the things we need him to do in the weight room too, and I know Mike's going to fix it. Anthony Brohart weighing in tonight at what? Anthony, what are you weighing in at? 230 pounds. Is that great? We're going to get him on the weight room. He was up there last year, but he just kind of monkeyed around up there last year. And now he knows a little bit more what it takes to be up in the weight room. He's dedicated himself. I know, I see in his eyes that he's going to be a football player before he's out of here. He's going to be 240 pounds next year, and he's going to be solid 240 pounds, and Anthony's going to be a player. He's a Red Raider all the way. We're glad to have him on our side, and you mark my word, people will know the name of Anthony Brohart before he's done. Next guy's another move in. I always want to call him Steve, but it's Chris Judy. Chris moved in from Urbana. He'd been in about 2 weeks and he broke his arm and couldn't play for 6 or 7 weeks. So we really never got a great idea what Chris could do. But I know he's got a nose for the football. He wanted something that's really unusual. Because when he broke that wrist, he came to every practice. Guys don't always do that, see? They find that as a good excuse, a good reason to stay home. But he's never, ever stayed home. He was there and he was learning, he was doing whatever he could do. Get in the weight room, you wrestling? He's wrestling, so that's just as good as being in the weight room and what the weight room does. Glad to have you. This next guy, Coach Emerson, I fought over all the time. And then I was always saying, excuse me, coaches always say, man, Nagy's getting tougher, Nagy's getting tougher. I kept saying, nah, he's got to get tougher. He's got to get tougher. You watch. Nagy's getting in there. You watch Nagy. And so finally, I started watching and he was right. Nagy was getting in there, and Nagy was getting tougher. And he certainly has the body to be able to do it. Checking in at 200 and what today? 205 pounds as a sophomore. Get him up in the weight room and kill him up in the weight room the way he should have let us do last year. We'll get it out of this year. Nagy, great offensive defensive line. Big Nagy. Big Redhead is far and away the best sophomore defensive lineman I have ever seen. Ever. He is. He's something. He's benching 300 pounds now, which Jay just got that, didn't you, Jay? Oh, yeah. 310. He's a good student. He's mean. He's focused. He's got red hair. That scares guys right away, you know? I know Clay Miller is going to lead us to that promised land here next year and the year after. Clay Miller, great man. And the pajama man, Jamel Mathis, actually they're calling him Melvis now because he's playing guitar. Melvis's problem is, for a long time we couldn't decide whether he's a freshman or a sophomore because, you know, he's been kind of a class behind and he's never really fit in. We are officially calling him a sophomore, and he's got the body. When we started out first scrimmage, he was playing that downtown, wasn't he? But Melvis didn't get any work in on the weight room in the winter. Now he's out here, we'll get a hold of him, and let me tell you something. You're going to make him forget your brother. You hear me? You will make them forget Andre McBride. This is our sophomore class. Keep this in mind. How many games you lose as a 8th grader, Corey? How many you lose as a freshman? 4. Yeah, but that didn't count, did it? How much you lose as a JV? No, that sounds pretty daggone good, doesn't it? That's not good. Have our juniors come up. Mel. BJ rode the ball down here on the end. BJ played center, defensive tackle, defensive end, wherever. BJ needs to get a little bit more committed in the weight room, don't you, BJ? I know he will. But he's one of those guys that he's always count on to be there, keeps his mouth shut. Yes, sir, no, sir. And if he gives himself a good season, I can see you being Eric Weston. Eric Weston, last year, how good were you, Eric? Not very, were you, buddy? Not very. I can get you. Let's do it. DJ rode the ball. I know that. Derek Collins. Somebody's got to light a fire under Derek Collins. How much you weigh, Derek? 180 pounds and wouldn't know a weight if it bumped into him. But he got better. Last year was his first year really learning how to play football. This year he got better. Got a lot better. We need him to get stronger, dedicate himself a little bit in the off season, and come back next year ready to play some football. And I believe he's going to do it. Derek Collins, congratulations. Heath Robinson played left tackle for us all 10 football games. He's very consistent for us up front. Bubba's a big problem, and I'm sure he'll tell you he's got great leg strength, but needs better upper body. He needs to get on the weights a little bit more in the upper body. But he's a Red Raider, man. He plays hard, he tries hard, and he does whatever he can do. And he's going to be one of those guys, one of those senior leaders that we're going to have it out of next year. He's running. I told this guy here, Jeremy White, last year we didn't have anybody on our football team with the exception of Jay Hoyt and Aaron Roberts that worked any harder than Jeremy White. Nobody. And we try to always tell those guys, you work hard in the weight room, it pays off, you get to play. And he spent a lot of his time standing on the sidelines wondering why I did all that work. This doesn't seem to add up. I'm telling you, Jeremy knows that last year he was not ready. But what he did last year is preparing him. He is poised now to be able to step in there and play some great football for us next year. He's a hard worker. He just does everything and anything you ask him to do. He can squat. How much can you squat? 420 pounds. I mean, not more than you, but that's a bunch of weight. He can squat more than Jay. But he cannot whip Jay. Let's not have any of that now. Ogre will do whatever he needs to do. Jeremy White. Chris Arby, I'll tell you up front what Chris Arby's biggest problem is. I remember him standing one night saying, I'm not the best football player on the team. I'm not even one of the best. And I thought, right there's your problem. Right there's your problem. And we've heard Chris, but we made him be a guard, and we made him be a fullback, and we made him be a linebacker. And probably no wonder he didn't have any confidence. But he's got a lot of athletic ability. He needs to focus in on what it is he wants to do, what he wants to be. Work hard at it. He's got a great attitude. And it was really the last year, I'm sure his teammates will tell you, has really grown up and matured. So maybe he'll be next year, Eric Weston, if you're not. That's up to you. Chris Arby. Short. He used to scare me because I was afraid last year he was going to get hurt. In JV games, I was afraid. Bony. And then Coach Wilson and Coach Byard got a hold of him this winter. Got him lifting some weights, got him running for track. How far did you go in the regionals? District finals in the hurdles as a sophomore. Last year as a sophomore. And we weren't even planning on him being a starter this year. Just telling you, we weren't. He came in and he just absolutely did everything he was supposed to do, the way he was supposed to do it. The next thing we knew, there he wasn't playing. Then to tell you what other kind of guy he is, we moved to the outside linebacker. When Carl Ray got healthy, he was an odd man out, and he opened not his mouth. Never said a word. I don't care who you are. You played 7 or 8 football games, and now all of a sudden you're not playing as much. You don't like it. Mark Short has that spirit of sacrifice that we talked about. He doesn't care. He knows that his picture is going to go up on that wall. He knows that he gets to wear one of those shirts. He knows he gets one of those plaques. But next year he's going to go pay some guys back. Mark Short. It's also got over a 4-point. Is that right? Yeah, over a 4-point. Aaron Roberts. Yeah. My mom's clapping because I never got a 4-point. You know, she's just trying to tell me that if I study hard. Aaron Roberts, man, don't you? I love to watch him play football. You guys, I love to watch him play football. And we went into the West Jefferson week, and we were so scared. Coach Emmons was so scared about Aaron Roberts, about our defensive tackles getting trapped. And Coach Price said, "Now we're going to work on it. We're going to work on it. We'll work on their reads. They'll be able to do it." And man, we hammered West Jefferson. The first 3 times they tried to run the trap, they ran right into Aaron Roberts. And later on, every time he'd watch it on film, when somebody tried to run a trap, he'd just be like running in place, and next thing you know, wham. And the greatest thing about Aaron Roberts is he comes back next year. He has started on both sides of the ball for 2 years, and he's only a junior. And he's another guy that just gives everything he has, never complains. And Aaron, you won't be an all-state football player next year. I'm telling you that. Aaron Roberts. Terry. Man, if you were coaching, where would you put Adrian Terry? He can play probably 15 different places. Sometimes I wish he was big and fat so we could just say, you're a tackle. It'd be easier. No, he can play wide receiver, he can play safety, he can play outside linebacker, defensive end. If we ever just settled down in our minds to put him in one place, I know he'd be a great player. I'll never forget the big plays you had against the one game, Adrian, when you stepped out on one about 86 yards. I'll never forget. I call it sticking the knife in the heart of West Jefferson when he caught that touchdown pass from Johnny. He had a big game for us down at Circleville when White wasn't able to play. He just always rises to the occasion and does what he needs to do. He gets stronger. He knows that. He's going to have a great season basketball-wise. We'll do something in the spring, and then wait till next year. Adrian Terry. Roger Arteaga. In this corner, weighing in at 205. Really? 225 pounds. Roger last year didn't play at all. There's something wrong with him. He had something wrong with his hip. He didn't play at all. And we got him in the weight room. Coach Emmett took him under his wing and worked him hard on the weights. And we were telling Roger we felt bad he didn't get to play more. And he said, hey, Coach, last year I didn't have all the uniform. So he knows how far he's come. And the last week of the season, going into the playoff game, we gave some consideration to actually putting him in a little bit of left tackle. He has come that far. He's a good athlete for as big as he is. He's a good student. What kind of belt do you have? He's one of these karate guys. He's got some kind of belt, so he can do something. He can wear something. Roger's going to be a quality player for us next year, I know that. Roger Arteaga. And the hitman, Jeff Matthewson's forte has always been defense. Only this year, we made him play offense. We put him at guard and said, listen, hitman, you're going to have to be guard. We're going to take these other guys. We're going to put them in linebacker. You got to be guard. And that means Coach Emmett gets yelled at you every day in practice, right, bud? Yep. And he did, buddy. Yeah, he did. But towards the end of the year, Jeff Matthewson was a solid offensive lineman. And you had not lost your mind yet, had you? And again, I know that his heart was on the other side. He'd rather than playing linebacker. He didn't care. Whatever it took to get us where we needed to go, he's willing to do it. Needs some great leadership out of Jeff next year. Needs some work in the weight room. I know he'll get it. Jeff Matthews. Oh, gee, thanks. Get our seniors up there. How about that? You know, we forgot one. We didn't forget one. Don't knock him out over. Cliff Williams evidently got sick or something. Had to leave. He ate too much. I just want to say about Cliff. We got to get him working hard in the classroom. Not that his grades aren't good. But we have a lot of coaches, college coaches now that are looking at a lot of our films because of some of the guys we have on our football team. And anytime we turn that film on, one of the first questions they want to ask me is number 56. So he's got unlimited potential, and he's a great leader. And I wish he was here so he could hear me say that about him. He's heard me say it before. But we're 56, offensive tackle, and now defensive end. So very clear. I've never coached, never been around a closer group than what's standing behind me. I only wish Thursday night that we had spaghetti out of the First Church of God. We had our Thursday night old devotional upstairs. I just wish the parents could have been in that room. We could have seen and felt the love that these guys had for each other. It was really something. And the thing that's so good about it is those young kids got to sit there. The young kids, I'm talking to sophomores and juniors, they got to sit there and see that. And the thing that really reminds me a lot of, like Kenny Sims here, Kenny reminds me a lot of your group. You guys are a lot like that too. You and Aaron and Andre and Ben, these guys are the same way. And that togetherness, love, no greater bond, nothing stronger than that. These guys certainly had that for each other. coaches time to pass all these things out. First guy over on the end is Adam Noble. Last year, Adam Noble started for us as center 10 games. Really, we stuck him there on the wing. He was just kind of working hard. And one day in practice, we thought, let's put Noble at center and maybe fire some guys up, get some guys playing a little bit. My golly, he never gave that spot up. We didn't expect him at that point to be able to hold it. But he stood up and grew up. And one of the greatest disappointments I have, I cannot believe Adam Noble was not first team All-League. I just cannot believe that. And that, that's neither here nor there, I guess, to get into the politics, how that thing is selected. He gave us a solid year at center as any center I've ever had. And he worked hard in the weight room, and he's grown as an individual, and he's got some memories that you never forget what he's done. I think it's a great year. Adam Noble. All-League. They said it's one of the pep rallies, the thing like about Jeremy Fleury is that he was 2 Raiders in 1. He was a soccer player and a football player. And I know that Flo probably wishes now, I've never heard him say it, but he probably wishes he played football before because he got to see another side of it. And he was a little bit handicapped and I didn't know a whole heck of a lot about soccer kicked him. And every time he'd screw one up, he'd turn around and say, "Coach," and I would just say, "Hey, supposed to go through those things, not around them." That's about all I could tell him, I'd watch and he'd say, "Well, through." And you guys would watch, even when he missed them, they were a mile high, we just couldn't get them straight enough. And he's a great kid. He came in, we tested our 12 best, most conditioned athletes at the beginning of the summer. 12 best conditioned athletes. Jeremy Fleury, a soccer player, was one of our 12 best as far as strength and everything. I think he won the respect of all his teammates at that point. And he struggled during the year, and we hung with him, and I wouldn't do anything differently. And I love him for coming out and being a part of our program. And I know that you got some memories, some other soccer players on that. All right, buddy? Jeremy Fleury. Congratulations. Best thing I've seen in quite a while, TJ Hill stand up. You don't have that knee brace on? You have to wear it a lot. All right. That's good news. I'm a baseball coach, too. And when he goes down at Miami Trees, I'm thinking, oh, no. I can't believe this. Because he was just kind of standing around the pile. If you'd been hitting, it wouldn't have happened. Standing around the pile, and guys roll into him. And we thought it was just a hyperextension, and it was quite a bit more than a hyperextension. We really monkeyed around for about 4 or 5 weeks, hoping it would heal up when it really didn't heal up. And he had to go and have total reconstructive surgery. If you want to get sick at your stomach, he's got a videotape of that you need to see. It's unbelievable how they do that stuff. But TJ was an all-league safety for us last year. And I was so pleased that down at the playoff game, after the playoff game, one of the pictures in the paper was of TJ Hill leading the crowd, because I believe he did that all year long. And the lesson to be learned out of that, I guess, is you don't have to be out there on that field to be an important part of any team. And I know his spirit was with us, and I know how bad it hurt him to have to stand there and watch. And we can only sit back and wonder how good he would have been. But I know that he knows what he's missed. And the dedication he's going to give us in the offseason, he's going to have an awesome baseball season. I know that. A lot of great things ahead for TJ Hill. Robbie Smith told me something that I thought was really interesting, that last year he came into town, he wanted to be a quarterback. He didn't know we had John Johnson and TJ Hill, and I knew it, but I thought, well, if he wants to be quarterback, I'll let him try to be quarterback. I just knew he wasn't going to be good enough to do it. And then we switched him to another position. His heart went into it because he wanted to be a quarterback. And then this year he came back with the attitude, I'm going to play no matter where it is, I don't care. We played Robbie at wide receiver. We played him a little bit in the secondary. But where we really used Rob was on the scout team. He was a scout. He played the other team's best running back every week, and he got hammered week after week after week. And I look back, if we'd have done that to him last year, maybe he'd been a little bit better at this. But we didn't want to do that last year. Nope. Not doing it. Here's arm wrestling, another baseball player, so we've got to make sure we take care of him. But he gave us a great year. We're glad he came back into our program. Robbie Smith. We got to call him Eric Weston Mighty Mouse because when he got his hair shaved off, he looked like Mighty Mouse. Thing I like, man, I'm telling you, I got to tell you, I love Eric Weston. He wasn't very good last year. He was not good at all 2 years ago. Midway through the season, he got a little bit better last year. And then we went on we take our seniors every year and we go on an overnight trip. We went whitewater rafting. And when we, on the way back from that trip, there's about 8 of us, 9 of us, we're sitting in this van. We're saying, we go, have every kid go down and name his starting lineup. Before the season begins, who's going to play here, who's going to play here, who's going to play here. Nobody in that van put Eric Weston on the starting lineup. Nobody. Nobody. Did you? I think Eric might have snuck himself in there. Eric put his name in there because he likes him, see, so he thought I better put me in there. Nobody did. And you open up that stat book right now, he was third leading tackler on our football team. Now you tell me how he did that. I'll tell you how he did it. He just had that indomitable spirit. And he decided that he was going to play. And he worked, and he worked, and he worked. And he went, in 1 year's time, I've told him this, in a year's time, he went from being a sissy to a hitter. He changed his whole mentality. And I can still see that big fullback or tailback from Little Miami catching that football and smack Eric thinking he can knock him down. But even more, he refused to be helped off the field. He'd run off and fall down and run off and fall down. He was not going to let that guy know he had just about assassinated him. But he should be encouragement to every young man sitting in this room. It doesn't matter how much ability you have. If you have a desire to play, a desire to hit, and you will do what you've been taught to do, you can play. And I'll never forget you, Eric. What do you say about Dwight Young? What do you say about him? Last year, when Dwight had his back problems, I had reached a point of frustration, you know, because I knew what Dwight Jones could do. I just knew it. But we couldn't seem to get Dwight to follow the line. This year, being the football season, he comes out the first couple of days, he's working real hard, he's running around, doing everything, and then he comes in one morning and says, "Hey, Coach, I've been thinking about this football team, and I just don't think I fit it." It's this year. Now, first reaction was to punch him in the mouth. And I thought, man, I've reached the end with this guy. I've done everything I can do. I said, "Dwight, I'm worried about you. If you're not on this football team, I'm afraid, I don't know where you're going to end up. I don't know if you're going to end up in jail. I don't know where you're going to end up." He said, "Hey, Coach, I just don't see myself in it." I said, "Okay, give me your stuff and get out of here." He gave me his stuff, he got out of here. I walk out on the football field, I walk right into Coach Ford. I said, "Man, something's got to give." If he doesn't want to play, that's one thing, but I'm worried about that guy. And George went after him. Dwight comes back the next day, and he came back the next day, a different guy. And he gave us, we've got some great wide receivers, he gave us his greatest year ever we've ever seen a wide receiver. He's one of those guys that made our football team. They couldn't load up on Carl because if they left Dwight one-on-one outside there, somebody was in trouble. I'll never forget that slant he caught against Madison Plains. He was in the end zone before they knew the ball had been thrown. It wasn't easy for Dwight because you know what he wanted to be? He wanted to be the tailback. He wanted to be the tailback. He had always been. But he was willing to go out there and make us a great football team. And because Dwight Jones was willing to go to wide receiver, this group of seniors accomplished something that had never been accomplished before at London High School. And again, it's that spirit of sacrifice. Wherever you need me, Coach, I'll play. But more importantly, Dwight says life straight now. I believe that. And I know that some things were said about him. One of the games this year, somebody was talking about him being an outlaw and being a criminal and all that kind of stuff. And we're just laughing because we're saying, hey, that's the old Dwight. He's not like that anymore. He may look like Boozy's brother or whatever. But he's got a good heart. I enjoyed it. I just realized I did forget White's first team All-League. Anybody else? Adam's second team All-League. LBAC. You were last year, weren't you? You should have been this year. You weren't. You weren't. Chad Peters. For some reason, I never think of the name Chad Peters without thinking, he's almost been dead twice. That's the truth. A year ago, his nose was broken. When he had the surgery, a blood clot was up in there. The doctor just happened to check it. And they caught the blood clot before it moved, or it could have killed him. And then about 3 or 4 weeks later, he rolled his car over out off 42 and walked away from that. Every time I see him, I'm just so thankful. He's a guy who didn't do anything this summer. He'd come up to the weight room and sit. And I'm thinking, Pete, you're not going to play. You know, what do you think you're doing? Oh, you're sitting down, you're practicing what you're going to be doing all year. Is that what he showed up mean. Somehow, something made him mean. But we inserted him as defensive backup. 7 games in the season, or 3 games in the season. West Champions. He had 7 interceptions in the last seven football games. The ball went up in the air. He went after it. In fact, if Rico had knocked that one down to John Paul, you had another one, right? So Rico didn't have to. Well, Eric couldn't catch him, so he had to knock him out. I'm happy to see Chad have the success he's had, because he's given everything he's had to our program the whole time he's been here. And he just walked out here a champion, and played in the state playoff game, and what did he make? Second team All-League? Second team All-League, and I think he should have been first team All-League. John Johnson. John. Those of you know John, don't you? I remember when, as a freshman, John was a hood. He was a hood that played football. Now, I can say it because he knows I love him, and he knows I'd say it to him. In fact, I would say it to him. But over the last 2 years, there's been such a metamorphosis that's taken place in his life. It's amazing. He has gone from a hood to the captain of the football team, to somebody who respects himself, who the other people in our school respect. John last year had about 1,300 yards passing. This year, he could have passed for who knows how many. And the times that he and I had the biggest arguments was when we get ahead 40-7, and I'd have to take him out. He'd come over and say, "Can I play anymore?" And then there's people up there yelling at me because we're running the score up, and they're crying over West Jeff because we're running the score up. And I'm thinking, this guy has worked all year to be able to pass the ball, and we beat you so bad that now I got to take him out. And that's not fair to him. But he came up to me after the Johnson Auto games and said, "Coach, I finally realized, man, those stats, they don't mean nothing. They don't mean anything. Winning, that's what matters." Now, that's all he ever wanted to do, was win. But he always believed we could win better if we let him throw it. And he's been, for our system, has been the ideal quarterback, and just everything you could ever ask of a young man. And I just love what he's done for our program. I think there's a lot of great things that he's done. Rico moved in from Cleveland, didn't you, Rico? Rico moved in from Cleveland. We played him a defensive tackle that freshman year. We always knew he could run, but we didn't know what else he could do. So last year we tried to play him a defensive back. I thought Collier was nuts because he wanted to play Rico as a defensive back. He said, "Well, he can run and he can guard some guys." Boy, he gave us a real solid year last year, and I'll never forget as long as I live. Rico, Owen team, remember that baby? Full speed, take it off, 68 yards, kind of put that game away for us. And I was so happy to find a double league meeting that Rico Hiram, who really had gone from nothing, had worked and worked and worked, was first team on LBAC. He sure deserved it. And I love he's just the ultimate success story of somebody who started with nothing to what he's been able to do. Rico Hiram. Dusty Miller and I both, we almost went nose to nose too many times. Maybe Dusty. I said this before. Dusty was given a receiver's body, but a lineman's speed. And it was always hard to be able to find some place to be able to put him where he could be successful. And as we got later on in the football season, we were playing against these big offensive lines like Jonathan Alder, Little Miami. West Jeff, and there's no place to put a guy in there that weighed 125 pounds. But he used to drive me so nuts in practice because he'd make all the tackles against our team, our defense. We thought he cheated, you know. We thought he better listen to the snap count. You cheat. But he made us better. And one time he got mad. This is what I respect about it. One time he got mad and he walked off the field. And I went up there and said, Dustin, what are you doing? He said, hey, coach, what I was going to say wasn't good for the team. I think it'd be better for me to get out of here than to say it. You think how much better it'd be if we all did that, if we all bit our tongue when we shouldn't say it. But I told Dusty many times, man, he gets a picture up on that wall. He's part of the senior class that walked out of here 24 and 16, 2 championships winners. And we're used to not even be spoken around this town. 22 and 16. I'm really proud of that. Greg Huff, you guys know the Greg Huff story. What happened to him first play his freshman year, got that knee torn up, and it took him forever to bounce back. And the first time he ever played football, really, that I saw him play football was 2 years ago, down at Logan Elm, when we found out that White wasn't going to be able to play for sure. On a Friday, we had no other tailback, and I walked to Greg Huff, who hadn't played football in 2 years. Say, hey, Huff, how do you feel, man? Who's the tailback tonight? I don't know who was more scared. But I remember that big run you had down there, 50-some yards, whatever. Hopper, you helped us win that football game when we had no business winning. And I've, just like so many of the guys up here, the way he lives his life, the example he sets for other kids, and it's something to be admired. And he's overcome a lot of obstacles. He never became the football player he could have become. I know he does that. But I believe that the grace that he has, he's going to be able to continue his athletic career somewhere. And even if he never plays another down, he's done something that many other people have never done. And he will always be a credit to London and London High School. I don't know if he's going to hang around here. I don't know what he's going to do. But he's going to do a fine person wherever he goes. Great. Matt Goldie, the best lineman on the football team as a freshman. Sophomore year, turned 16 in the spring, got a car. Got a car, got the books, couldn't play it. Couldn't play. So he comes out last year as a junior. You got your license your freshman year. You missed your sophomore. So he comes out last year, hadn't played. Played real solid for us, but not nearly what he became this year. You ever coached a better guy on both sides of the ball than Matt Goldie was this year?
Goal line.
He had that line in his body, you can see. Nobody could get under it. And had great leverage. Matt played hard. He's one of the guys that coined the phrase, don't talk about it, just do it. We get around here our little powwows. He's always saying, don't talk about it, just do it. And we did. Gave us a great year. First team all league. Second team up. Second team up. Second district. Unbelievable what these guys done. He gave us a great year, Matt. It'll be a while before, I really believe it'll be a while before we see another athlete like Carl Ray King. Carl runs a 49.5 quarter mile. For you guys, that may not be a whole lot. Fourth in the state last year. And then when I tell people, we don't even have a track. And he's the fourth fastest guy in the state. They can't believe it. What do you mean you don't have a track? So we don't have a track. He runs a 49.5. Last year, we asked that guy, pre-season, to move the running back. Because we were having trouble. White was going to be able to play, didn't know what was going on. He went through the motions. He came up to me and says, Coach, listen, I don't think I want to run up inside there every play. I don't know whether he's looking at the offensive line we had or what it was. He said, I don't think I want to do that. And when we got really beat up in the mid-season, we didn't have a tailback. Coach Wilson comes in, and man, we got that same thought about that same time because we got him Carl's tailback. I said, Carl, want to start the first game you ever play running back? Want to start against West Jeff? Sound like a great idea? Imagine what he thought. First time he heard his ball, that kid about took his head off. But I saw that after the guy took his head off, he got up, straightened his helmet, and went back to huddle. I said, I think he can do it. I think he can do it. He got 400 yards last few games. And I knew what a treasure we had here. Most of the other teams didn't understand that. I knew what he was. And had he not sprained his ankle that first game against Logan Elm, he would have put some numbers up that would have been just absolutely amazing. I know Carl will say it. It's not because of him. It's because of the offensive linemen and all these other guys, all the things they've done. But it's going to be a while before we see just a flat-out athletic talent like this guy. A great student, 3-4, and a great leader. I see him go down. I know that's one of the guys Sonny was talking about, go down to those little kids and work with them and give of himself to them. And those of you parents out there got to look at it. A lot of times you don't know who you should point out as role models. You should point out Carl King as a role model of those kids. Tell them you like him. And I know he's going to play football next year someplace. I don't know where. That's he's free. And you know what? It's not what he's killed himself. It's going to play the person. Carl was first team All-State, first one we've had since I've been here, first one I've ever coached, and first one since I don't even know when. First team All-State, back in the year of Central District. I knew he was going to be that. And then the most exciting thing I think I heard was the day that I got the news that Carl King was first team All-State, I heard Jay Hoy was too. I don't know if you guys understand, they only pick about 26 kids across the state. And 2 of them are here. The thing that is so good about it is that you will never, ever, ever find a guy more dedicated, hardworking than this guy right here. He made himself a football player. He made himself one. Refused to let people tell him he couldn't. Got in that weight room. His teammates will tell you what he did in the weight room. And he made his dream come true. Try him. Jay shared some at church today, and just I got to share it. He didn't know he wanted to. This is unbelievable. He shared with the church today that more than anything, last week, he wanted to make first team All-State. This guy is so unselfish. I'm telling you, you don't know how unselfish he is. He said he wanted to make first team All-State. And Sunday night after we had youth group, he went home and he said his prayers before he went to bed. He said, rather than praying for himself to make All-State, which is what he really wanted to do, he prayed for his school, prayed for his family, prayed for his youth group. He said before he went to bed, he knew he was All-State. And he wasn't surprised when I walked up to him Tuesday morning and said, hey, Jay, just like this very. I've been around a long time. I've never been around a kid like this, ever. And I'm not talking about this as an athlete. I'm talking about a person. There were times during the year, get some kids in town that were having trouble with grades, elementary kids, junior high kids, to go to their house. Things that were done that nobody ever knows that were done. The 17-year-old kid. And although there are a lot of great athletes standing here, no doubt in my mind, Jay Boyd was the heart and soul of this football team. He not only changed our football team, he changed our school. Because 3 years ago, when drinking beer and smoking dope and running around doing all that stuff was the thing to do, Jay Hoy stood up and said, I'm not going to do that. The guys fell and ran behind him. And I just don't want people to leave here. I don't want this class to graduate and not appreciate what they had in the middle of it. Because this guy was truly a born leader. I don't know how we'll replace him. But there's somebody sitting out here that's going to do it. So he's showing how it needs to be done. The finest young man I've ever took. Big one. telling you, he's one of a kind. You're a Red Raider, aren't you, Todd? Oh, can't believe how he's taken to the Red Raiders and the Red Raiders are taking to Todd. He's out there every practice, freezing no matter what. One game he got excited, so excited he got overheated. He got overheated. And parents shall be proud of your kids because they did. They truly accepted and reached out to him. Got a varsity right out of there, Todd. You take that home, show the grand and all those guys, they'll all be jealous of it, won't you? Todd. I know, this is the first time I've looked. I know it's good. A lot of other things, I won't go into all of them. I do have a couple. Did we hand out the second team all league and all that stuff?
Yeah, second team all.
Second team all league. First team all BAC football players. If you will, stand up, because I'm so many. We had 8 of them. We should have had a dozen. Who were they? Stand up over here. Aaron Roberts, stand up. Cliff Williams, who's not here. Carl King. You should have been. I'm telling you, makes you mad. You were. Johnny was. You should have been. You were. You should have been. You were. You were. You would have been. You should have been. They're all district players. They're Carl and Jay are both all district. We can read all that stuff. I'm telling you, they don't care about it. They've done something that's never been done before. They've been trailblazers. They've got us going in the right direction. And it's a great honor to be able to coach these guys. You got something you want to say, Coach?
Sure. 3 things. Number 1, thanks, guys. 18 years coaching high school football. Great football teams. Thanks the Lord, too. Thanks, guys. State playoff. This guy, how long has he been coaching? 6? He's in at 6. How about you? 18 years. Thanks a lot. Hey, number 2, weight room. We sat here last year, and we said, how are we going to get better? And we're going to get in the weight room, and we did. And I said to Jay the other day, Jay, we're starting up again. We have to work as hard as we did last year. He points his finger at me. He says, no, you don't. He says, you got to work harder than what we did this year. Man, that sparked me. That's what I needed. He sparked. He put that finger right in my face. He says, you got to work harder. And we'll be working here in about another week when we start. Now, you've heard this before, and this ticks me off. So give me 2 minutes here. Last year I'm coaching softball. And we were fortunate enough to win the league, and I was fortunate enough to win Coach of the Year honors and little gravy there. And this guy was over at Utica, and the guy is like 24-2, wins the league, has one of the best teams in the state of Ohio. And he doesn't get Coach of the Year in the BAC. So I go to a district meeting about an hour later, and I raise my hand, and I said, Mark Bratz is the Coach of the Year in the Central District. That's my nomination, and he got it. It was unjust. Right there this year is a guy that should have been Coach of the Year. What place did we finish last year in the league? 5th. Finished 5th, Jeff. What did we finish this year? 1st. Jonathan Alder's coach won it. Where did they finish last year? You know? 2nd. You know where they finished this year? 3rd. Who do you think's Coach of the Year? Right there. And Coach, man, I've been fired up about that since you came back from that meeting. And I know there's some jealous people there because I'm 18 years of coaching tells me that. And I got our coaches together, and we met out back. And I know this will mean a lot to you. And I know you don't care about Coach of the Year, but we got together, we got a nice picture, and you know, for all of us, you're a Coach of the Year.
Got all those guys with those short haircuts holding next to Coach of the Year. There's one missing, Michael Vince forgot or lost.
Well, we try to get everybody there. We're going to do it again tonight, and that's it. And the guys that weren't there, they feel you're Coach of the Year too.
This is from the whole football league. This is for forever. We also made, Mr. Peters put together a collage. And this was a collage that, recaps the season.
I don't know if you got that chance to look at that, I saw that out there. There's some. Amazing group. And I want you to know there hasn't been a time or two that I haven't kicked myself for losing two games. I'm sitting back, we're able to do, we make the playoffs. How could this football team do this? But I want you to know, those of you who are more interested in wins and losses, which we certainly are, there were some boys that came in this year. And it happened as a result of some of the hard things that we had to go through. Some of you guys have been around here a lot longer than I have. I know some of you have been here a long time ago. Rich, you've been here. Kid like it used to be. Kid like it used to be. And I know it's because of guys like Rich Cunningham and Mike Wilson who've been able to impart that spirit and pass that down to where they used to be. So they understood what it means to be from London, what it means to be a Red Raider. When I got this football job 4 years ago, I'll never forget. I went to our assistant principal at Heath High School and I told him I was getting another job. And he said, oh man, he said, you could stay here. There's no pressure here. They're not big on winning. They don't care. I said, man, I want to go someplace where it matters. I want to go where it matters. Well, after a Saturday or Friday night football game, Saturday morning, people know whether we won or lost. I want to go to a place like that. Man, God made this place just for that. And I feel so privileged, and I give all the credit to Jesus Christ for putting me here and giving me the opportunity to do this job. Giving me the coaches that He's given me. Kids, community support. I'm a lucky man.
Okay, can I say something? I graduated back in '74 fighting coach. You're about the best coach you've had, Mr. Bolt. And you have filled his shoes big time.
I appreciate those kind words. That's not why I do it. I have to get up in the morning every day and look myself in the mirror. And I know I can do that. I love London. I love what's going on here. I love being a part of it. And as we break up here, I know that it's been a long time, but I'm going to tell you guys, if you want to see something that will stick with you forever, 10 minutes, go into the gym. And I've got a 10-minute video that was made by one of our groups here at school of the West Jeff Week, West Jeff football game, put to music. It's 10 minutes. It's awesome. You've got to see it. You've got to see it. And the thing that's so awesome about it, in this very room right here, our football team changed in this very room, in this very spot. When we came in here one night, and I lit a candle right up there. I told those kids that the fire had gone out. Our fire was missing. And that we need to rekindle our flame. And one by one, these young men took a candle, went up and lit it. And then we blew some of them out, and they scurried up there and they relit them.